Hi, and good evening. The time is 4:30. Today is 13/4/20, and the curfew war has still not ended. And why the government is not giving any announcements? Like you have arrested yourself and peacefully staying at home, Mr. Narendra Modi and Edapadi Palisamy. So, like we saw up to 6 chapters in community medicine, and um, so we saw up to demography and family planning, I think. So next we have a diagrammatic chapter, and so um, day before yesterday I finished off with certain things, and so like today we'll see the concept of health, and so hope you're clear with it. So I resigned on 13, that is 11/4/20, and so we have the concept of health, and so like health, the state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely an absence of disease or infirmity. WHO standard of living is refers to scale of expenditure, goods consume, and services we enjoy, level of education, employment status, the items of modern living such as food, dress, house, amusements and comforts, kinds of health, food consumption, education, occupation, working conditions, and housing, and um, social and intellectual attainments, freedom of action, justice, and freedom of expression. So, like sections are given actually, and it is law, I think, and actually forensic also is law, and so the physical quality of life index is 0 to 100, infant mortality, life expectancy at age 1, and literacy, and so the human development index, and varies from 0 to 1, and human achievements and its capabilities, and life expectancy at birth, literacy and knowledge per capita GDP income, and health team is group of skilled persons who share a common goal and common objective, and which are determined by needs of community, specific and recognized functions, and health for all uh, is the attainment which leads to socially and economically productive life. So the primary health care is an essential health care based on practical, scientifically sound, and socially acceptable methods, and technology made universally accessible to individuals. and families in the community through their full participation and at the cost that the community and the country can afford to maintain at every stage of their development. In the spirit of self-determination, health system is intended to deliver health services for a community and planning, identifying priorities, finding out resources in terms of money, manpower, material, periodic evaluation, concept of health and disease, ideas of coverage and equity, structures like hospital or centers, community with service givers and consumers. Then hygiene is the science of health and embrace all factor which contributes to a healthy living. And so hygiene is very important, and use of this sanitary hand wash, that is the you have this um, solution which vaporizes and so alcoholic, and so that is very much important concern about hygiene. And holistic approach of health, multifactorial causation, web of causation. It's combination of social, economic, political, and environmental influence of health in the context of its environment. Food, education, housing, animal husbandry, agriculture, industry, information technology, which has impact and promotion and protection by the approach of multifactorial causations. And so, health dimensions, functioning and interactions, and socio-economics, and health concepts, that is biomedical, germ theory, environmental, that is ecological, and social, economic, and cultural, that is psychosomatic, and which involves the brain and the skin, and multidimensional, holistic, it is a holistic projection, you could say, in a multi-dimension angle, and the biological average, that is a relative concept. And so, health A, that is relative concept. Um, Average height of an Australian is 6 inches and 6 feet and 3 inches. So 6 feet and 3 inches, and of a British is 6 feet and 1 inches, and they are local standards based on statistical averages. Culture and social class among Australians and British influences influence health. Uh, um, They form a relative concept of health and determinants of health. There are many interacting factors, and they're called health determinants, that is, hereditary, environment, ways of living, personal hygiene, economic status, health service availability, and the ecology of health, that is, mutual relationship between man and the environment. So there's a physical and chemical, biological, social, and environmental factors which determine, and they are studied with respect to disease under ecology of health. And so, like spectrum of health, many possibilities are seen in the dynamic phenomenon, and so we come across all possible combinations and influencing factors in health status is health, apparently health, acutely ill, chronically ill, dying, and dead. So efforts, surrounding factors, and medical profession. So when it decreases, the medical profession of the efforts increases, and um, so, health or well being is determined by quality of life, that is PQLI, level of living and standard of living, lifespan, literacy, and human developmental index, and health and development, that is positive health in man, and the cultural development and continuous improvement of health status in population, physical and mental health, and inextricably interwoven with socio-economic growth and health indicators. There is valid, reliable, sensible, and relevant indicators which determine the health development and the mortality indicators, that is the death rate, lifespan, IMR, child mortality rate, MMR, case fatality rate, proportional mortality rate, and the morbidity indicators, that is the disease rates, incidence and prevalence, and the disability indicators, that is hospitalization, loss of work, Sullivan's index, when bed disability is subtracted in lifespan, it is Sullivan's disability free of life, and DALY, that is disability adjusted life years, which express loss of years of health life. Nutritional indicators, anthropometric values, LBW, that is low birth weight, and healthcare indicators, staff population ratio, and utilization indicators, fully immunized bed turnout, and socio-economic indicators is per capita income, family size. Millennium developmental goals are provision of peace, security, and disarmament, so no arms, and development and poverty eradication, protecting our common environment, and human rights, democracy, good governance, and the vulnerable, and protect the vulnerable, and meeting the special needs of developing countries, and strengthening the United Nations. So you must protect a vulnerable, so vulnerable is more prone to disease, and health service, the first level is primary, sub-center PHC clinics, and second level is secondary. Referral service is taluka hospital, district hospital. Third level is tertiary, high-tech service, regional hospital, teaching hospital, railway hospital, specialty service hospital. Health examinations are by survey, screening, surveillance. Equality in health is attainment of level which permit social, economic, and productive life. Health for all is a new philosophy, and which is which has the following characters: that is socially acceptable, universally accessible, community participation, and affordable. So next we have the concept of disease. So the primary health care. So primary healthcare centers, which we met, was in Veerapandi, and that is Palwadi. So when my friends, I had one friend, so Vasanta Priya, and all of my batchmates are my friends, and they were saying about Palwadi. So I was wondering, what is this Palwadi? So they'll be making some milk sweets or milk cakes. So nearby this side, in the Kashi Vishwanath temple opposite, we have this milk products milk, curd, and ghee, and of low cost they give, and this palkova and all of things. So I thought they'll be selling some of those, but that was a primary health center for the kids, that is a educational center. So I had a nice experience there, so I wish to share my experience there. So still remembering it, it has been almost 10 years, and 2010 we were there, and 10 and 11 we were there, and there what happened. So I think still the year has not ended. So we have just passed. Maybe it must be within the last 5 years, and you have made a confusion such that you have extended up to 10 years. Why have you made it? So we have submitted all of our issues and things and papers, everything, our certificates, such that we need to get through within the year of 4 years, and we have extended 1/2 year of community celebration. So you have, but you have made it in an arrogant way, in a British rule, such that you have made it up to 10 years. So you should not do that again. If I so like not like you should not do that again. You will be already punished or prisoned for what you have done. You will have your punishment already. Um, but like. You should have made within 4 years of time. Anyways, you deserve what you do, and so that area and a primary Palwadi, and so there is a government school, education school, that is a pre-KG school like, and so small kids of this who are of the walking age, 2 years and 3 years and 4 years, who did not go to school up to 5 years, I think. So children usually go by 4 years to school. At 5 years, they can directly, 5 or 6 years, they can directly join first standard, and so as government schools doesn't have LKG and UKG, so there was a nice, and they had a weighing scale, and so they keep a baby, and they weigh with the weighing scale, and they showed the weighing scale. It was a very good product and all, and they had this charts and board with color chalk piece, and so teaching area for the children, and they had some toys for the children to play, and learning toys, and this blocks, cubic blocks of alphabets and all of the things, very beautiful, and they welcomed us, and they explained to us what is going on, and what is a palwadi and all of the things, and we were very pleased about it. But we were not able to donate anything separately, but we donate as a whole, and so, like next primary healthcare center, the PHC is in Atyambatti. So there is Vinayaga Missions Primary Healthcare Center. So there is a RHTC, the Rural Health Training Center, and so there also we have patients, and so about some 25 patients per day, and most of the sugar patients, diabetics, and the hypertensive patients are more. So ulcer patients are very very uncommon, and patients with poisonous bite are very rare and uncommon, and then patients with neuralgia and myalgia are are seen, and so then patients with so I have reported about some in the initial second year, I did not take cases. We just saw the cases and helped the seniors and all of them. And in the community medicine classes in the second year final, so there also, I mean, the third year. I mean, the final year, first part one, we had a good exposure to community medicine, and so there's a prayer going on, and so um, so like mm, we individually took cases and we learned a lot in the final year part one, and so like um, my experience with community medicine from the second year and till now. And so then, after becoming a CRRI, we were posted to community medicine for 3 months. And so I had first 3 months. So there I just attended only for a month, and I had the next 3 month posting. There I attended for about 2.5 months, and I had a next 3 months posting. And so I was promoted, and the next 3 months I completed all the 3 months. So total of about 6 months of posting in community medicine totally. And mm, so these PHCs and all of the things. And so like we'll see the PHCs in upcoming. And next we have concept of disease. The departure from state of health interrupting the normal functioning of the body. Causes of disease are etiology and treatment, biological pathogens, behavioral value system, conviction, attitude, belief, and ambulatory treatment of worries and anxieties, and hospitalized and rehabilitation. So the cause of disease. And so definition hygiene is given. Signs of health that embraces all factors which contribute to healthful living. Sanitation is individual and community surrounding, which are depicted through personal hygiene, and environmental hygiene. And next is public health, that is science and art of preventing disease, preserving life, promoting health and efficacy. And um, so and so public health, science and art of preventing disease, preserving life, promoting life and efficiency through organized community efforts. And preventive medicine, it's a science that includes specific medical measure and specific community measure in preventing disease or ill health status. So, community medicine is always called as a preventive medicine. And so, social medicine, study of man as a social being in a social environment. Preventive and social medicine, area of discipline covering individual health measure, community health medicine, special health measure, in studying the man. And community medicine is a successor of public health, and it has a concept and scope. And preventive medicine and social medicine of public health. And uh, so community health is latest concept which includes all personal health and environmental health of human community, and community diagnosis is application of medical knowledge to diagnose pathology in community. Then pattern of disease is identified along with factors influencing disease, that is PEM, IDD, that is protein energy malnutrition, and IDG, and cholera epidemic in the community. And community treatment action in terms of health measures to manage community illness. Um, Example is diagnosed by community diagnosis. So there is a special point named community diagnosis, and the example is nutritional supplementation and nutrition education in PEM, iodized salt supply, and IDD, and protected water supply to the community in cholera epidemic. So the present condition of COVID is something like a cholera, and a name given to cholera, and a lot of especially the outbreak in Germany and Italy. So hospital and health center, that is to provide medical care, follow up, and rehabilitation, and it takes care of ambulatory patients and non-ambulatory patients and the community. So the physicians, a recognized and registered medical practitioner who has acquired prescribed knowledge through course of studies in medicine and who is legally licensed to practice medicine, and a basic doctor, that is one who is well conversant with common health problems and providing curative and preventive health services capable of managing common illness and referral of the needy, who can give life-saving aid. So then then we have surveillance, that is continuous scrutiny of factors to determine the occurrence and distribution of disease. And we have monitoring, routine watching over, aiming at detecting changes in health status, and sentinel surveillance, that is identification of missed cases and further notifying them. So it is a sentinel surveillance, um, and selected institution do the job of sentinel surveillance. And population medicine. Medicine is applied to community through public health, community health, and preventive and social medicine. And triad of uh, Whereas population medicine is different from the medicine given individually in the clinic. So population medicine is given as together in the community, and they have different dosages. And so one such population medicine given in the hospitals are this metformin and this Tenex, this um, BP tablets, and the sugar tablets, and so one more name for that is there. So and so you have the triad of epidemiology. So agent, host, and environment that can determine disease in an individual or a community. That is the agent, host, and environment. So the triad of epidemiology is a very important thing. So we have an agent, a host, and an environment. So and case occurrence. Um, So, the case occurrence or epidemics are determined by these determinants, and then we have the web of causation of disease. So we have the web of causation of disease. There is all participating factors, all perpetuating factors, and all predisposing factors are considered in the causation of disease. Understanding of chains of illness can help us to dealing to eliminate such disease. And the disease spectrum, um, that is the precipitating factors, is that which brings down the disease on precipitation, and all perpetuating factors on mutual consent, and all predisposing factors which are previously responsible. And disease spectrum, so like similar to light spectrum, disease gives its pattern at a given point of time in the community. Such spectrum contains subclinical cases, mild illness, and moderate illness, early severe stage of illness, late severe stage of illness, and advanced stage of illness. Dying and dead are also seen in the spectrum. Then we have the germ theory. It's a single cause theory. Definitive causative agent causing disease is one of the evolutionary concept. Mm, and so the definite causative agent cause disease is one of the revolutionary concept. So there is a definitive causative agent, which is a defined responsible agent, and the multifactorial cause is a modern concept which carries many factors, including risk factors and social, economic, cultural, genetic, and psychological factors are equally important. And agent host environment, it's called epidemiological triad, and it's used in infectious diseases. Basic factor of causative agent influencing environment and person who hosts the disease are studied. Natural history of disease, it's a trademark occurring in nature, foreseeing all events from beginning of illness to death, and recovery and disability are usually the cause of disease, and before it occurrence and after occurrence are visualized over the disease. Then we have the risk factors. Exposure, that is significantly related with development of disease, there is high cholesterol and disease. So group of people exposed to risk are called a risk group, and appropriate action to prevent risk is risk approach. And we have examples of risk factor, so that is fatty diet, obesity, we have diabetes, alcohol, cirrhosis of liver, smoking, radiation, cancer. So we came across one cancer institute, it's not an institute, it's a cancer rehabilitation center in beyond nearby Sankari, after Vaikundam. So nearby there, and so we saw a lot of cancer affected patient, especially tongue cancer and skin cancer, and something like cancer in the neck or in the head, so different regions. And a beautiful day and a beautiful place, I could say. And um, like we went by the college vehicle and we had nice time. Actually, our assistant, Mr. Jayapal, was there, and so he took us, all of us, to the institute, and I mean the rehabilitation center. And so there, the patient themselves explained about their situation and how they acquired cancer, and how are they feeling there, and how are they recovering, and they asked for aids also, and so medical aids, and so then we had some group discussion there, and then we left by and we went to this there was an oven parlor, and we had some so they had some refreshments, and then we came to the department and college. And usually community medicine was all fun. And next we have high cholesterol and obesity, type of personality, that is the heart disease. And so um what is this type of a personality is smoking, high BP, and high cholesterol is stroke, and alcohol consumption, ignorant about traffic signal, is accident. And so and we have iceberg phenomena of disease, which is very important. So this is seen in communities similar to that of tip of an iceberg. Most of the illness are not seen at the onset. Phenomenon of small portion of symptomatic disease seen, and a big portion of symptomatic disease that is not seen is called as iceberg phenomena. So something like an iceberg which is hidden in the below the sea or an ocean, so only a part of it is visible in the top. So in Titanic movie, this iceberg was there, and so accidentally the huge ship hit on the iceberg, but they did not know about it. Only when they go near to it, the captain saw the iceberg and asked to shift the ship, move the ship sideways. But accidentally, it hit the lower decks of the ship, hit the iceberg below, which is huge in size. So, what is an iceberg? So, it is about something like a submerged ice which fails to melt in the water and still present. It is the area of a volcano, an active volcano, which keeps on emitting ice. So we have a volcano which keeps on emitting um, lava, that is a molten material which burns. So we also have a salient active, we could say it as a salient as well as an active. Salient because it remains, it gives only ice. Ice is a dead material, and so then active means it actively exposes, releases ice in the form of what to say, it is a phenomena of emitting ice in the manner of compressed air and pressure. So there is a natural history of disease given before and after disease. So we have the chemical, physical, mechanical, biological, nutrient, agent, host, environment, physical, biological, social environment, and age, sex, race, heredity, occupation, custom, and habit. Then the first level is primary prevention, that is health promotion, specific protection. Second level is secondary prevention, early diagnosis, prompt treatment. And we have the third level is tertiary prevention, disability limitation, and rehabilitation. Rehabilitation is to recover and give some recovering measures, and disability limitation is preventing the disability so as to prevent the disease, and the stimulus recovery, tissue change, signs, symptoms, disease, death, defect, and all of the things. So table 8.2 is there. So difference between control and eradication. So then still we have prevention, modes of intervention, and international classification of diseases. So let's see. So difference between control and eradication. There is definition is to reduce incidence to acceptance level. So the incident of the disease to accepting the disease, and eradication is total extirpation of disease agent. There is polio eradication, complete removal of the disease from the society, and objective, that is to reduce mortality and morbidity. So this complete extirpation of disease agent, example polio, this chicken pox, and this means what is that smallpox eradication. So these things are completely eradicated, from the people by giving some good nutritional supplements and making a regular habit of a group of people, and objective is to reduce mortality and morbidity, that is death, and there is no more a public health problem, and to approve the disease, to improve the disease, and area of operation is in high incident area, and the total coverage, and duration of operation is indefinite, and for eradication it is time limited, and for economic aspect it is recurring, and here it is cheap, and so case finding confirmational epidemiological investigation is not important, and it is very important. um, and we have the prevention, promoting, preserving, and restoring positive health are basic aspects of prevention of disease in the community. Then we have levels of prevention: primordial, attack at emergence or attack on risk factors, including lifestyle constitutions, and primordial prevention, that is regular exercise and serious disease prevention, smoking regulation in cancer prevention. Um so primordial is the primary one, and so uh, I don't know. Today I'm hearing a lot of noises, and tomorrow is going to be Tamil New Year, and I wish you இனிய தமிழ் புத்தாண்டு நல்வாழ்த்துக்கள், and so like so that is attack at emergence, and attack on the risk factors, that is lifestyle constitute, including the lifestyle. So primordial prevention, that is regular exercise and serious disease prevention, smoking regulation in cancer prevention. So this primordial prevention comes under the primary sectors, like this Samatvapuram, and this women பெண்கள் சுய வேலைவாய்ப்பு அமைப்பு. So they are mostly concerned on this primordial prevention, and so Um, and primary prevention, and that is in the primary government hospitals. So action taken before the onset of disease, disallowing disease, population strategy and high risk strategy in the prevention of chronic disease. So one idea I have is that, so we'll make things like as we have done earlier. So we had a practice and it came out successful. So like, we'll make every citizen, like every individual who are with disease or not with disease, both of them have a card with the government hospitals such as the ration card, so that they are very well printed about what all diseases they have, what all diseases they don't have, what all things they have to check, and what are normal in the persons. For example, blood pressure, whether it is 120 by 80, sugar levels, whether it is below 130, and so all of the things, and scan reports for the pregnant, as we maintain for pregnant people scan reports. In certain regions these pregnant women are not at all identified in rural regions. So to make it insist, we'll make each and every person have a card, a medical card, such that we make sure that every person in the world is healthy as an identity card. And to move to regions, for example, we have a corona outbreak, we had a dengue outbreak in the early time in 2017 we had dengue, and 19 also we had dengue outbreak. So at that time, we need an important card to travel. So each one have a medical card, and so then we have the secondary prevention. That is an act to halt the progress of disease, that is done in bigger hospitals using bigger instruments and devices, scanning, CT scan, X-rays, and all of the chest and abdomen X-rays, and scans of the brain and ultrasound, the Doppler, and all of the things. So then we have tertiary prevention, that is intervention in the late pathogenic phase to reduce the disability and to promote adjustment to disease condition. So the tertiary prevention is done post-operative or post hospitalization in the house and in the care centers. So that is also very important. After a post operation or a post hospitalization, the patient should be very careful not to acquire this disease again. So we'll make sure we have a post operative and post hospitalization centers or regions which presently act as hotels and care centers. So we'll make them into post operative and post hospitalization centers, similar to this uh, postpartum centers. Postpartum centers will always be in the hospital itself for a good care of the child also. So we'll make necessary. So most of the people don't know about the post-operative centers. After post-operation, they stay in the hospital for about some. Like they in the hospital after post operation from the operation theater, the time period of the patient is only 1 to 2 days in the hospital. So no persons would be allowed more than 2 days. Even heavy operative patients, bone operations, and the fracture operations, brain operations, they'll be kept under isolation for only 2 to 5 days. Maximum period we could give 5 days for high risk cases who need an immediate operation post operatively. because of some surgical needs. So uh, other than them, other than these skull operations and fractures and organ transplant, uh, other minor operative patients can have these centers where we provide services. So the service is mainly provided by the defense army people. So please make sure they know. So people in the hospital must direct these post-operative patients, whether minor or a major operation, after a period of rest, isolation in the ward, in the ICU, and if they want to, like for 2 days in the ICU, if you're there in the ICU, so the next up to 5 days they can be in the ward. After 5 days, they must be shifted to these centers for more care from the persons there. So we have army working personnels. So to take care of you, they know more about medicine than all of us, and they are experienced in taking care. So, uh, like this tertiary prevention, and so like in the centers also, you can be there from 10 days up to 1 month. After 1 month, you can go to your home safely, and regularly after that, you can't go to these centers. You should directly contact the hospital, or we'll have a separate division in the hospital, such that we have regular, like you need to separate the patients, that is the post operative patients who are coming again for medicinal advice and tablets. So you need to separate the patients who have been admitted or hospitalized, and the person and the outpatients. So outpatients will be always in the hospital ward. So you can have a separate block nearby the ICU and the um, uh, operative ward, such that you can have a special block there, special department for all of the patients, so that we don't acquire, so the patient doesn't, we don't acquire disease from the patient. And also, see, this post-operative patients are more prone to diseases and also sepsis. So they also, the patient also don't acquire sepsis because of us. So we must be very careful with it. So you must make a separate building. So in our hospital, we see both the post-operative patient and also the outpatient in the same unit, and in the same place. So this must be prevented. And modes of intervention. So we are having health promotion, and it's a process of enabling people to increase and improve health, health education, environmental modification, nutritional intervention, lifestyle changes, behavioral changes, and specific protection. The process of totally avoid disease or illness. Then we have immunization, nutritional supplementation, chemoprophylaxis, immunoprophylaxis, protective device in the industry, and in the traffic accident, against carcinogen and allergen. So we are having specific protection. So environmental modification is one thing of health promotion. So again and again, I am insisting, you can make a lot of modifications whatever you want. You must make people, especially the new people like me, to know what is the present environment and what is only what you have in the surrounding. You can keep all your modifications and all of the circus items in another way, not to the core. And next you have this nutritional intervention. So that is very well done by the ration cards. But what thing is that, and we have, you must also specify that you have other ration, government aided ration, like ration companies. I mean the ration shops, government aided shops, which you get in the same government rate. But most of these shops, when we go individually, they sell by the maximum retail price. So that must be avoided. So we earn, we get, and we eat. So there is nothing needed for a maximum retail price. So and so lifestyle and behavioral, so behavioral changes has been lot brought down by the England government. So they have their own rules of behavior, even using a spoon while eating. So like um, and the lifestyle changes, all of the things you must learn only from the orthodox people and the styles. And you have the chemoprophylaxis, the chemical description prescription of the drugs, and the immunoprophylaxis is that immune profile, which marks your immunity and your vaccinations and all of that. And you have the protective device in industry and protective device in traffic accidents, that is the helmet and body gears. And so device in the industry is you have nice gloves and all of the mechanical and shields and all of the protective items. And so against carcinogens and allergens. So these are like masks, face masks, and most of the protective devices are so like it's not a device, things are like handkerchiefs, masks. Usually the Muslims use a lot of protection, and they cover themselves completely when they go outside. And early diagnosis, so everyone can't go out like that. Or like you can simply wear a mask with a dupatta or a saris mundi and all of the things. So then then we have early diagnosis and prompt treatment. So it's a process of early detection of transformation from physiological to pathological status. So there is what you feel physically is then transformed pathologically into the organs. So something like here, if you see the buildings are very big, and if you see from a distant nearby lighthouse, you would see these buildings are very small. So that is a corona of the eye, so a circle. And so carcinoma, breast, hypertension, cervix, and tuberculosis, leprosy, and mass treatment in trachoma and malaria. So then you have disability limitation, that is disability prevention. So that is interaction to prevent disability. So then uh, disability limitation in nerve damage in leprosy, and physiotherapy in polio lameness. So you need to interact with people to prevent disability. And so impairment is that any loss of abnormality of psychological, physiological, or emotional stress and function. That is impaired vision, hard of hearing, mental retardation. So like um, impairment is that um, I'm impaired is that any loss of abnormality of psychological, physiological, or emotional stress and functions. So, if there is emotionally stressed, and for example, vision, hard of hearing, and mental retardation, and so usually like disability is any restricted or a lack of ability to perform an activity in the manner or within the range considered normal for a human being. It is loss of both lower limb, loss of hand, and blind. So usually in my earlier times, I used to think these are like really they don't have eyes. Really, they don't have like in a cartoon. They don't have both the limbs, or really they have lost the hand. So these things are like the exact shape of the hand or the limb or the eyes is lost, or the exact power of the eyes is lost just because of the gastrointestinal involvement. Most of the people think that heart is very important, the brain is very important, everything is very important, but the mother of these organs is the gastrointestinal tract. So these form a major uh, role in the involvement and in the development of these organs. So these GIT together gives the acts as a role of a skin, gives food for the skin and other organs. So when there is any infection or any impairment, any disease in the gastrointestinal tract, the first thing is that we are getting disability. And next, the impairment. So this impairment is mostly related to the brain, and most of the impairment is due to the respiratory illness, and mainly the lungs, which control the breath and the life, the spirit, and all of the good things in the world. So then we have the handicap. So it is a disadvantage for the person because of disability or impairment that disallows the role to play. It is loss of property, loss of wealth, loss of family, unemployment. So rehabilitation. So it's combined and coordinated use of medical, social, economical, vocational, and psychological measures to make an individual or community function normally. And medical rehabilitation. So, as I earlier said, um, so combined and coordinated. That is together a group of people and given given an order, and to make individual or community function normally. And medical rehabilitation is that helping medically to restore physical rehabilitation, organ function, that is reconstructive surgery of hand, that is example, fitting artificial limb after accident. So then we have social rehabilitation, that is restoration of family relation and social relation. Example, widow marriage, employment on compassionate ground. So, employment in a private sector or something like that. And so we have disease pattern in developing and developed countries. There is infection, um, that is infection in developing country. In developed, it is metabolic disease. um, Loss of body metabolism, normal functioning, and malnutrition. There it is cancer and helminthic infestation, and there it is autoimmune disease. So then we have socio-economic characters: rural, urban, joint family, single family, agriculture, industry. Per capita income, literacy, standard of living, medical care decreases, there it increases. And demography, young, pediatric, that is population, older, problem is geriatric, um, BR, birth rate, death rate, growth rate. Um, and infant mortality rate, maternal mortality rate all decreases, life expectancy increases, and the health problem is CD, and population explosion, social problems of developing countries, malnutrition, environmental sanitation, medical care, and NCD is re-emerging infectious disease, social problem of developed countries, overnutrition. And so the economic rehabilitation is that financial assistance to recover from handicap. Example, loan under self-employment scheme. Then you have vocational rehabilitation, restoration of capacity to earn livelihood. That is, leprosy patients are put to garden work, which enables them to have an earning. So, and yes, in the leprosy, also the cancer and leprotic patients were also there, and they were cancer patients also were put to work in the garden, so they had a beautiful garden developed by them also. And psychological rehabilitation and restoration of prestige, dignity, and confidence. um, so then you have example is tuberculosis, patient after full course of treatment and become non-infectious. So some things like that, and the international classification of disease, of illness or disease, which helps in uniformity of notification and international comparison. It is ICD 10, and that is 10th revised, has 21 major chapters. Examples are chapter 2, neoplasm, COOD 48. Each chapter contains 3 character categories to cover its contents. Is it 72, problem related to lifestyle? For new diseases unclassified and for research, U code is used. U49, disease of unknown etiology. ICD-10 has 3 volumes dealing as under, and so like um, volume 1 is body of ICD with nomenclature, volume 2 is instruction manual, volume 3 is index, and uses a uniform classification for accurate comparison, decision making in disease prevention, healthcare management, and research. So that's all with these chapters, and we have environment and health. So this is chapter 9, and still like we are having some 36 chapters here. So I'm happy that I finished up to 9 chapters on reading and have said most of the relevant items related to community medicine. So next I don't think later we'll be dealing with these, and so there's lot of diagrams, and so community medicine is very important in one's life, and so I thank everyone for a good opportunity and dealing, such that I have learned in the hospital. I have gained my certificates. At the same time, I have taken home these messages back along with the book. So thank you to the Department of Community Medicine. And so, next, what subject we'll be dealing with is we already saw three videos. This is the third video of community medicine. So, next, we'll be continuing with the anatomy next. And so, next, the final year subject, we'll be seeing surgery. So, about the Das Manual of Surgery, which was very much insisted on reading, and so which made me pass in my surgery in the second attempt. And so thank you. Have a nice Tamil Puttandu, Tamil New Year celebrated with homemade sweets, since we don't get any other things outside, and homemade sweets and homemade food, and celebrate it with some crackers, and make some pongal, make a new dress, and see all the television channels as I see. And so I'm also happy about the news channels which tell about a lot about this coronavirus, and giving a huge lecture on COVID. So I'm very thankful to them, and they still indicate the education through media, and thank you all.